Welcome back to Dev Diary Deep Dive number 11. This week it's Citizen, Simulation and Lifepath. We're going to just dive straight in because there is so much to cover. Let's look at the feature highlight video. Okay, here we go.
You might think that city building is all about glass and steel, bricks and mortar, tarmac, smokestacks and iron tracks. But it's also about joy and laughter.
What do you notice already? Yes, we're noticing a difference in all the citizens. As we go through, see if you can notice how many different types of coat, hair, trousers. The kids were walking like they got something under their armpits. But yeah, everybody's looking. I think it's like a random pool, it must be, of clothing and all sorts. This guy looks very dapper here, doesn't he? But yeah, keep your eye open as we go through the different screens, all the different types of look the citizens can have, which is a massive upgrade from what we had before. And also some four-legged friends as well. Spotting one here.
Sadness and tears. Struggles, triumphs, even love.
Shiny shell suits, got to get them in. Either that or it's a bin bag.
That's because city building is about people. While the behavior of your city citizens is rooted in deep simulation, they aren't guided by ones and zeros. They follow very real human impulses on their life path.
That is one of the biggest changes now. We've had a lot of discussions on my Discord, by the way, link in the description, where we're talking about all of this stuff all the time. There's like 48,000 of us there. Is if you think of everybody as being real, in inverted commas, real needs, real things that they want to do, that is really going to help you, guide you to build your city, rather than before it was, oh, I know I need to plop this down, I need to plop that down, I need to plop this down. Now think about what your citizens want, and there's excellent tools now to help us to see what they want, and it's really going to guide you as you're shaping your cities.
A life path encompasses major events that shape their lives. It starts with being born in or moving to your city.
That little blank bit, that's just in the video they've supplied to me. It's probably not in the one they've released, but hey-ho.
Everything after that, from their first day of school to college graduation, their first big promotion to retirement, their nervous first date to tying the knot, is just another step on their life path. Most days will be uneventful.
Dogs.
Citizens will follow a routine of attending school, working, and spending free time with friends and family. But like the rest of us,
Watch here as the van's coming around the corner. I love this.
They'll have good days.
Run in. But these
citizens.
But the other people were waiting, which was good. You know, they're stopping. I don't think the lights have changed necessarily, but yeah, I like that.
They'll have good days and bad. Citizens can fall ill.
So this information here, I'm using a lot in the building of my city. So as I'm looking around, as I'm trying to work out what I need to do where, what I need to change, this information, and that's the same for commercial buildings, industrial buildings, is looking at individual things. You don't have to, you know, some people are going, oh my goodness, that's far too deep for me. You don't have to do that. But if you want to dive in a bit deeper, which is the theme of this video, then this information is fantastic. And when I'm able to start releasing content to you, September the 8th, not very long, mark it in your calendars, this coming Friday, a week on Friday, then yeah, I'll be showing you that.
Suffer accidents, lose their job and become homeless, commit crimes and face the consequences. On the flip side, citizens reap the benefits when your city thrives.
So this is like a little basic park here, doesn't it? They're going outside, enjoying their park because they want to build up their happiness and their well-being, which we'll talk about a little bit more, which, you know, affects all sorts of things, whether they're going to work, whether they're going to get sick, all sorts of stuff like that.
These happy citizens stay and contribute as they get older, until it's their time to line up at heaven's pearly gates. Happiness is something you can actually measure in Cities Skylines too.
So again, this info view and this information here, this is like an overall information for the entire city. But you can also get this information on each individual person. So if you hover over their happiness little icon or something like that, you can see this, which is really helpful, because if you've got all of this being plus everything, and then you've got, I normally have, it seems to be police is the one that doesn't quite cover things as you think, whereas in Cities Skylines 1 you could put down one police station, it'd cover half a metropolis. It seems a bit different now. But if you've got like a -15 on police coverage, then you know what you need to do. The game is telling you that is what your people are unhappy about. That is what you need to change. So this thing here, really helpful. And you can see what it covers: internet, healthcare, pollution, education, leisure. The size of their homes is another big thing. There's a lot of people trying out the game at the moment, struggling with zoning and how do I get demands up for different things. And the size of the homes really relates to the type of people living in it, single people, families, but also how they feel about living there, their happiness and all that. It all ties together. Taxes, we've got mail service, so we've got post in the game. Wealth, so how much money they've got left over after they've paid their rent, work, travelled, gone out to fill their needs for goods, for shopping, for leisure. Yeah, loads of stuff in there. You can see pretty much everybody's happy over here. And then the healthcare coverage is a bit low down here to sort of tie that in as well.
It's a score that tallies an individual's health and well-being. You can track happiness on each citizen's information panel. View the panel for their household to learn what's contributing.
And there you go. Look, you hover over it there. So we can see this person here is saying about unreliable healthcare coverage, but that's not where they are. That's at their home. So if you jump back over to their home, then you can see in that area. So sometimes you might, what would we have done before? Well, we would have sort of said, let's just plop another healthcare thing because the other one's miles away. One's up here. We're going to plop one down here. But now you might say, well, let's upgrade this one to give it more ambulances. So might be a bit better that way. Or, so there's different things you can think about doing. High noise pollution as well. Probably not much you can do about that, but it's only a -1. So, you can negate these minus figures quite easily, but some of these big things up here get a big plus. So when you sort of, even with a -5 altogether, they're still happy.
Or detracting from their collective happiness. Get the basics right, and citizens will basically be happy.
So we can see some of the different options we've got down here. So these things here got these little stars. That can add to their happiness. That'd be a pub. Their happiness. So depending if that's easy to get to, this is like a park going by an industrial place. I'm not sure they're going to want to travel there, and it's going to be a long way to get there, because that's taken into consideration as well. But yeah, lots of different sized parks. We've got like sporting arenas, I think landmarks, tourist attractions. So lots of different options.
Ensure they have a reliable electricity supply, clean water, decent plumbing, and regular garbage collection.
So yeah, any of those services, if you have a blackout, you've messed up with your power, you know what it's like, you're too busy building down here, you look up and they've run out of power up here or something. Even just once, that can give you a negative sort of score, and it can take a while to build back up again to get that overall happiness score back, or their well-being that it affects. Obviously, if that goes on for too long, then it affects, everything drops down, then they're more likely to get sick, more likely to die, all that sort of thing. So yeah, really keeping an eye on everything all at once with 57 eyes on everything is important.
Minimize ground, air, and noise pollution. Keep a lid on crime so citizens feel safe. High-speed internet is pretty much a must-have, and so is a suitable home.
So these things start to get quite expensive. So it's a bit different from like in Cities Skylines 1. As soon as you unlocked, say, healthcare, they'd all go, oh, I need an ambulance. It's like, you didn't need one yesterday, but today we've unlocked it. Now you know they exist. It's sort of similar. They'll know the internet exists. They'll say we haven't got coverage. But if you've got everything else pretty high, you can sort of get away with it. But these towers, which give you like a big area of effect for internet, which can, it seems, I've noticed, be affected. Like if you plot one here, these tall buildings will affect the area of effect of the internet. So what was I getting at? Yeah, so they are quite expensive. So you need to sort of make sure you've got enough money. You can't just keep plopping all these things down. You will soon lose a lot of money. So a lot of balancing to be done.
Families need space, so they'll benefit from living in larger homes in low-density areas where...
I'm just pausing again before she finishes the sentence and moving on. This, to me, that's like an upgraded building. So now you get solar panels, you get pools out the back, whereas one, maybe like this, is a level 1. This is probably like a level 3 or something like that. Starting to look like a nice upgraded building. But this is what families want. They want the space, they want the house. As long as they've got the work, they've got the wealth, the money free to pay the higher rent for this sort of square meterage of use, then this will work. What you will get from time to time is a little symbol popping up saying rent too high. Look at that. So suddenly now you're looking at the land value. You've made this area so good. The land value has rocketed. The rent is now super high. So it is a balance as well. You don't plop everything everywhere to get the land. We should do that. I mean, get the land value as high as you can. That people will move in. It will get too expensive. So you've got to balance that. And it may be you need to rezone a certain little, area like this because the land value is far too high. Families can't afford to live there. So you put some medium density housing in, and then they can afford it. They move out, other people move in, they can afford it. So more stuff to think about.
Kids can roam freely. Small apartments are best for singles and students who want low rents in busy areas where they can go out and socialize.
And you won't get that demand until you've got a reason for those people to be moving into your city. Universities or colleges, job availability and that sort of thing.
Healthcare is non-negotiable. Without it, citizens can die from illness and injuries. Even with good sanitation and low pollution, citizens need medical facilities near enough to travel on their own steam or by ambulance for routine care. This is especially important for your city's elderly population, whose health won't always be tip-top.
See a few different looks on the citizens here as well, which is interesting. I think for this update, they've just gone for the clothing by the look of it. Whether the models of the citizens are going to adjust at all, but we'll see as we go along. But lots of different hair color, hats, clothing. Yeah, I'm liking it.
Seniors are actually in the last of the 4 life stages your citizens
Everyone drives a Harley there with the look of it. Sorry, talking about seniors. Carry on.
will experience. They might even live in a multi-generational home with citizens in the other life stages, including children, teens, and adults.
So, yeah, talking about that with the families, we'll discuss in a bit greater depth in a moment. But we know everybody has their different needs, so obviously different education levels. Do you remember we spoke before that they've all got different wealth levels? They've all got different distances they will travel for things. So I can't remember the exact details, but I think if you're younger, you've got more money, you're working, you're more likely to hop on a metro and go further if it costs you that. Whereas if you're a senior citizen, you want things nearby and all that sort of thing. So as your families get older, your city's changing literally before your eyes. So an area that before worked perfectly well, now suddenly the people are getting older, their needs are changing, you've got to make adjustments to your city. So a lot of realism going on there, which I've been really enjoying playing.
And look out for 4-legged family members too. Keep your finger on the pulse of what's happening with your citizens by viewing their Life Path journal. It records everything that happens to them from the moment you click follow. It'll show you personal details, their happiness score, and their chirper feed.
Yeah, Chirper's got a big overhaul, and I mean, Chirper feed is this one here. We're looking at the life path, the citizens we can follow, but because they now follow this sort of longer progression, I don't know how it relates to the date. I'm assuming that it's going to relate right to this date here. So, if somebody lives, whatever, let's say 80 years, whether it is literally 80 years on here, but you could be following somebody. So March 2027 they were born, we're now at 31. Does it say how old they are? Doesn't say. So I'm going to have a look at that and see whether it correlates exactly the same or relates exactly the same. But anyway, I've been enjoying this, following the citizens. It's nice to sort of check in with maybe your first citizens that have moved in or other ones that catch your eye, maybe a criminal on the run. You want to see whether they turn their life around. Yeah, a lot of different things you can do with that.
Oh, and one more thing. Chirper is back. Mm-hmm. Expanded and better integrated, Chirper now gives citizens a voice.
And you can see with the likes here, they might just mention it in a moment, but it's definitely in the Dev Diary that you'll get things popping up like we haven't got enough power or things like that. And you sort of look at their house and they're okay, but you might have missed a sort of a dip in power because power does change. Obviously, with the power usage changes depending on the weather. Depending on all sorts of different things. Supply and demand, if you're selling it outside and you've cut it too close and suddenly you haven't got enough, all that sort of thing. You haven't got enough money, perhaps, if you're buying it from outside. So you'll get these. These are really worth watching, and I've been using these a lot. So here we go. We've got one from the water department. Our water and sewage handling capacity isn't enough to handle our needs. We're buying the required service capacity from our neighbours. So that tells you're spending perhaps more money. You might want to put in some more services of your own from the water bar here and spend the money that way, and it might work out better. There's a lot of balancing to be done there. yourself. But yeah, the amount of likes will tell you whether it's just one person or 6,500, 14,000 people that are thinking the same. So I've been using that a lot. Very, very handy. Yeah, so I was just going to say, I don't think we're going to see a mod getting rid of Chirper because it really is integrated into the game now.
They'll talk about what's going on in their lives.
There we go. Electricity overabundance was selling the excess. So that's good.
And what's happening in the city. If their chirps get likes, you know just how important that topic is to them and other citizens. This can be helpful when they chirp to complain.
And also you can go and see these ones. Look, this person here advertising their new job. You can click on that and jump to that business, which I find quite interesting. As new things pop up in the city, they're enjoying the education system. Smog is unbearable. So we know about air pollution. The direction of winds can affect the way things blow over from industry and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely very helpful.
About underperforming city services and applaud their excellent work. When it comes to the health, well-being, and happiness of your citizens, think quality, not quantity. Yes. By creating places, spaces, and experiences that enrich their lives.
So here, look, we can see we've got a pedestrian road that they're walking on, and it's right up against the waterfront as well, which is good. So we get that new cut and fill sort of creating. It's not really done at that side, but maybe this side, like a sort of key wall effect, which you can do. You don't actually have key walls you can draw in. It sort of works that way. But yeah, quality, not quantity. Remember that. So when you're building your cities, it's not police station here, police station there, police station over there for the air of effect like we used to do. As long as you could afford it, you placed it. Now it's what would be a good sort of central location. Those near it will get an air of effect boost, but then patrol cars, if we're talking about police, will go out and patrol around and their coverage will be bigger. So you've got to sort of think of that. If you place too many, you'll be broke all the time. And my first episode of Cities Skylines content on the 8th, I'm going to be sharing a lot of tips on that sort of thing. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on that.
You'll discover what city building is all about.
Right, there we go. Lots to learn in that one. We are now going to take a quick check back with Thursday's Dev Insight on game progression. There's a few little bits of information I want to show you in this.
Hi, I'm Lauri. I'm a game designer at Colossal Order, and today we are progressing through the game progression.
As I said last time, this new progression of the way things unlock, and you can choose to unlock stuff with the tech tree, one of my favourite changes to the game. You certainly feel a lot less overwhelmed with the way it's set up now.
Just like in Cities Skylines 1, in Cities Skylines 2, we have the milestones.
So lots of new milestones added, as we spotted down here. As we go through, I had a lot of people commenting about the little bling, bling, every time you get some XP. It's not as... I mean, they put it all together here because they want to show it off to you, but you really don't notice it too much while you're playing. It's not some annoying sound that's going on all the time, so I wouldn't be too worried about that.
In Cities Skylines 1, the milestones were limited to the population of your city. In Cities Skylines 2, the milestones are unlocked by gaining expansion points. There are two ways of gaining XP in Cities Skylines 2.
Now, the options is just going to tell you in a second about the different ways of getting XP. It's interesting because I'm yet to sort of leave a city running overnight just to see how much XP you get, because you do get a bit of passive XP so many times through the day. It's only a very small amount though. And as we noticed, if we go back to the screen here, every time we hit a new milestone, you get a chunk of money. And we've got the subsidies that we spoke about before, which government subsidies sort of help your city along on the first few milestones until you sort of break even, then you're let loose on your own. Spending this chunk of money wisely that you get, not suddenly getting that and unlocking a whole load of new squares, then going, oh, I'm not making ends meet and I can't get to the next level. For these first few levels, that is really a balancing act. You want to make sure, and it's, you're going to build some cities, you're going to fail. I did, until you sort of work out these different things, or you're going to watch our YouTube videos and go, oh, that's how you do it, and then be successful. That's what we're here for. Just jump forward again. Where were we? About here.
You can get XP by either building a building or placing a road. You can also get XP passively. Your passive XP is gained through if your city population is growing or your citizens are happier.
Look at that. I think that looks lovely. I love it when you get all these different size buildings looking very crisp. as well. Very nice. Get a sunset behind that, and that'd just be mwah, chef's kiss.
There are 20 milestones in the Cities Skylines 2, and as for the rewards for the milestones, there are the increase in the loan limit, monetary rewards, expansion permits, new features.
So interesting. Up to huge city. Oh no, we're still clicking on large village. I'm thinking we're getting these too late. I thought we got them earlier. But yeah, as soon as you get access to service budgets at large village, and then I think it's grand village, you actually get taxes and stuff. It might be just before that actually. But yeah, you want to start looking at those and balancing things. And as soon as you get access to these, agriculture, oil, mining, forestry, livestock, start doing what I've spoke about before. Is you look at your production, what do I need, start placing them down, start getting them like over here. And the fact you can sort of shape them, fill up some little gaps in your city, that's really going to start making you some money.
There's new services and of course the development points. So what are development points used for? Well, they are used to progress through the development tree. Each city service has its own tree that
and you know what? You can actually build a surprisingly good balanced city quite way into that sort of list of all the different sizes you can do without unlocking a huge amount of these. So you don't, you know, I've got one now that's going really large. Do I have the emergency battery station, geothermal? I'm trying to think now. One of them I've got through to the solar, so I would have had that because they sort of go together. But completely not done any of these up here. I've done another one where I've not done any of this down here, and I've just gone geothermal. And you don't feel like I really need to unlock that nuclear power plant, otherwise I'm not going to be able to make it. You know, you can still pick and choose. You don't have to do anything. And that's the same for all of these. I've used the basic ones. And then it's really an investment. So when you unlock, I'm thinking of like the healthcare or the police, you unlock the larger one. You're then thinking, right, okay, I've got this larger one available, whether it's, power or healthcare or police. I'm now going to remove perhaps some of the smaller ones, consolidate it all into the larger one, which should be better money-wise, better coverage, all those sort of things. So yeah, definitely lots more choices.
You can progress through. You can unlock new city service buildings.
I tend to unlock this like really early on, and then this one here. So this one gives you all the left and turning off, left and right turning, stop signs, traffic signs, all those sort of things. I get these early on just because that's my interest. Yeah, and then parking's always good as well.
For that service with the development points in the development tree. That way you can truly develop your city in the way that you want to.
That is a big building. A lot of parking in there.
For example, if the player really wants to focus on the public transportation in the city, they can spend their development points in the transportation development tree. Or for example, if someone wants to really focus on the education of the city, they can just go ahead and...
Yeah, and that's something which links in to what we were just watching before, is the college and the university. That's the different levels of education. You've got this 5. It's like uneducated, and then you go through elementary, high school, college, university, and that gives you your 5 different levels of education. But then you've got these options here where you can sort of branch out a little bit more if you wish and get the bonuses that go with these buildings. So again, more choices.
The college and the universities first before focusing on other aspects of the city.
Oh, huge building. And these signature buildings as well. These are absolutely great. I've had these pop up when I've been sort of doing some very early city stuff, and I've hit the target without realizing for a nice new residential signature building. There's like a pop star one or something like that. And the benefits it gives, you I can really just pop that in that area there, and it will just increase the happiness, the well-being, whatever the bonuses are, and really just help out that little spot that was struggling before. So yeah, they're nice, cool addition, those. I'm just looking at this building here. I haven't used this one yet. This looks really cool. I'm liking the look of that.
I think the players are going to like the freedom that the development tree brings them, because that allows them to develop the city just the way they want them.
I agree.
I usually like to advance through the roads development tree first, because that allows me to build the highways just the way I want them.
Mm-hmm.
We, the developers, cannot wait to see how you're going to develop your own cities.
And that's the thing, the fact that all the cities are going to just look different is an absolute bonus. Right, so let us have a look at the The Colossal Order Dev Diary that gets put up online. You can find a link to that below. So much information in this. And we're going to just do this by the use of the pictures that are provided. So obviously we know now that there are new looking citizens. There's also pets available. We can see little doggies in here. You'll spot some of those. Don't know whether there's cats as well. We'll have to keep an eye open for that. But they're just to look nice. They don't affect anything yet. But citizens are always doing something. They're coming or going to school, shopping, sleeping, studying, committing a crime, escaping, medical care, moving in, moving out, driving, causing traffic. They are the lifeblood of your city. So you want to make sure, as we've mentioned before, that you want to use all the information we have to make sure that you're keeping up to date on what they're doing and how that affects the running of your city. So this life path that we're talking about is all the major events in their life between either moving in or being born till they either move out, which can happen, or die in your city. And the happiness plays a big part in how that all works. So you've got overall down here in the right, the overall sort of city happiness. With that, they're sort of looking like yellow happy rather than green happy. And then you've got the overall city happiness of all the different items. And that can affect the citizens' behaviour and their ability to work as well. So if they're unhappy, they start getting ill, they're not going to want to work and all that sort of thing. So their well-being is tied in with their happiness, as well as other things as well, as we've been talking about. So you want to make sure all the services are covered. They don't want to be stressed out. They want somewhere to live, post-internet, all the different things. And also buying goods. That's one of the things that goes towards their happiness, their well-being, is that they have somewhere to go, somewhere to spend their money, and that their goods need is being fulfilled, as well as their leisure needs are being fulfilled. So a lot of things go into their well-being, their health as well. We need to keep an eye on that. There we go, a nice info view there, so you can see where the hearses are, where your crematoriums are, where your medical facilities are. With the overall info view, you can see that you've got enough coverage all over the place, and they need to be able to walk perhaps there, or they need to be able to call an ambulance and not wait too long, because you don't want them to get too ill and die from their sickness or injury. So you've got to take all of that into consideration. And then, of course, what is causing the bad health? You get a lot of people with bad health in one area. Is it the sewage is backing up, or air pollution? Is it the garbage, the rubbish isn't being picked up enough? So you want to be able to look at all of those different things, find out what the causes are, and keep on top of that as much as you can. But people are just going to randomly get sick from time to time, but you can reduce the probability of that happening by taking care of all of these different items as well. Then, of course, you've got ambulances. If they need picking up, then that is available. They will walk, or they will be picked up. And sometimes it can be that they've been in a building that's collapsed, or a building that's had a fire or something like that, and then they will be called out. And I've seen it where you've had a whole block of flats, with 100 odd people in there, collapse or burn to the ground, and you'll get hearses lying down the street picking up the dead. It does happen. So you really want to make sure that you keep hold of all of these different things and keep everything balanced and running well and available as well. If you need that sudden glut of hearses, that you've got that available. And then we've got all the different types of citizens as well. You can squint, you can maybe see some of the different ones on this tiny picture. But of course, you've got children, teens, adults, and seniors. And they can form a mix of different ages in your family groups, which we know we've seen. If you click on a building, you can look at the family group. And we mentioned before about their different preferences. That was sort of covered in, I think that was like one of the first Dev Diaries, wasn't it? About the different age groups prefer different ways of travelling, different types of goods when they're shopping. Teens, cheaper mode of transport, and they will be more willing to walk further. Whereas older ones, they want comfort, so they want it nearer, they want it cheaper. They're slower getting there, more comfort, all that sort of thing. So it says in the Dev Diary, a direct route to the front door is always the best option. So they can walk out their front door, jump on a bus and go. That's what they're going to use, or maybe call a taxi. So keep that in mind. As your citizens age and change through the years, the needs of your city are going to change. Your city is more an organic organism. It's more an organic life form, changing and adapting as things grow older, or as time progresses would be a better way of saying that. Then, of course, we've got the following of the citizens, which is great. We can see this one here. We've got a few more little things added to Matthew's life path. So first day at their new job, you can check out where they're working. Got married. Maybe you're the right person, isn't the right time. Maybe this is in a different order. Moving in with Karen. They got married to Diane, so obviously changed their mind. There's something going on there. Got their job, where they live. So we get a lot of information. And it's interesting following around the people in your city. And you will notice you can affect their life path. So you could put like a nice park next to where they live, and they'll start talking about it with their chirps. I can say tweets. Even that's wrong now, isn't it? Their X's. Good grief. But you can check it all in here, their chirps. And yeah, so you can affect the life path of the ones that you're following through Chirper as well, which is absolutely fantastic. I've been enjoying that too. And there we go. We won't go into too much information about this. We spoke about this, didn't we? But we can see you can also like the chirps, which is interesting. This is the lovely city of nowhere. Probably all the other people, we've all been naming our cities with names that we use, and someone's just made a city gone, that's nowhere. But yeah, you can like chirps as well if you like, but you can really see how much people are liking the different things that are happening, which is excellent information, really, really helpful. So let's just talk about the education for a moment. So this is a picture of a schoolyard with some teens, youngsters sitting outside the school. So uneducated, poorly educated, educated, well-educated, and highly educated. So you really want to try and help your citizens go through all these different paths, but you can make some education's levels not available by not putting them nearby, so they don't travel to them. So you keep the education levels a bit lower, which will help with some of the jobs and industries that are available in where they are. So again, keeping your eye on that. You've got the new college that's been added. So you've got uneducated before they go to school. You've got poorly educated, which is when they finish elementary school. Then they go through high school, where they get educated. College, well-educated. University, highly educated. So when they're looking for their jobs, teens and adults can choose to further their education if they wish. They will make decisions based on distance to travel, whether they can make money working, all these different things again being tied in. Or they will say, I'm going to continue. I'll go to college. I'll go to university. And that will affect their employment and job levels and that sort of thing, which is the next picture. So workplace availability, we can see, again, listed by the education levels. This is the overall view of the city of nowhere. So I would say, so low with very dark colour, this is all going to be residential. We might have a little bit of commercial up here by the look of it. So you're getting a few more workplaces over here. You've got a few more. So this is like some office buildings perhaps or something like that. So you can see how this will tie into the overall view of what you need where in your city, the workplaces. So people living over here that want to go to work, as long as there's options to get there, so good road network, maybe buses, they will travel a long way to get to their work. If it's nearer, they'll walk. And also the different complexities of jobs now that are in commercial industry offices will need the higher education levels. You can have somebody who's highly educated take a lower complexity job, perhaps somebody that would be poorly educated or educated, I suppose it would be, would take. But you can't have somebody who's only educated taking a highly educated job. Obviously that makes sense. So commercial places, industry, job opportunities, they will change in commercial industry offices depending on what's available. We spoke about that before in previous Dev Diaries. If you know, there's a lot of things that will change if they need to sort of scale things back a bit because the cost of the goods coming in, the cost of the goods going out, how much money they're making, the rent, all these new things that they're taking in. There's so much that is running behind the scenes that we didn't have in Cities Skylines 1. They will then adjust the complexity of the jobs that are available. So again, a lot of things going into play here, and all of that can affect the work efficiency. Remember, when you click on a building, you then get the little, or a person, you get the little happiness thing. You get the same on the job, on the commercial, office, industry, and then you get the efficiency rating. I'm pointing up here, even though it's not in the picture, because that's where it would be. You can't actually see my cursor, so you don't know, but it'll pop up on the left, and you hover over it, and it will depend on which levels of job are being filled the most will affect the efficiency as well. So that's worth remembering. Then we have criminal activity. Yes, some can become criminals. They can be a robber. They will pick a building. Each building has a sort of different level of probability that that might be picked for a crime, and then the robber will say, what's in my area? They'll pull from this, list that you can't see, and then they'll randomly pick one, and then they'll go and rob that one. So everybody that lives in that building, their well-being will then drop because they've been robbed, and then the robber might escape. If it takes too long for a police car to get there, they'll escape. They will commit crimes again, or if not, they'll be picked up, carted off to prison. If they're of an age, they might live out the rest of their life in prison and end up dying. They're, I don't know, I'm randomly picking figures here. They're 80, they get given 2 years and then end up dying in prison. If they're younger, they get 2 years, they come out again. That sort of thing. So that is, again, some more information, more depth. So that if you don't have prisons available as well, they can be taken outside the city to serve their sentence. So that'll probably take police cars then longer to get out and come back, which means other criminals might escape. So again, lots of things going on there. Okay, let's talk about leisure and tourism, which can affect all of this. So we're seeing somebody lying down enjoying this park. They're sort of hovering above the ground. They're very happy. Maybe they've got a very fat wallet in their back pocket. That's why they're hovering. Beta gameplay, don't worry about it. Things will get fixed. But yeah, of course, filling the leisure needs affects well-being, which we know. So when that level decreases, they want to go out, they want to fill it up. And they've got different ways of filling that leisure needs. They've also got goods needs. So sometimes, depending on the weather, if it's nice, they'll go outside, fill their leisure needs that way. If it's raining, they'll stay inside. And they might go out and buy some food and eat at a restaurant, which fills their leisure and their goods need as well, as long as they've got enough money to do that. And again, with tourism, your city's overall attractiveness, which there is an info view for, will affect how many tourists come in, which then will affect your roads network, your mass transit network. They'll go and visit the landmarks and the bigger parks and the things that we saw earlier on in the video on that tab. So again, all these calculations going on. How far away do they need to go to increase their leisure, to spend, to get their leisure up, their leisure needs, and that would depend on how old they are. So again, all these things, hooking in together. So you've got indoor and outdoor recreation, like we've mentioned. You've got entertainment at bars, meals, restaurants, which is, there we go, this picture here, which is showing some indoor stuff you can do. I don't know quite what you're going to be doing over at this one, but yeah, there we go. Or if you don't have any leisure inside in your city, then they can also travel to outside of the city for fulfilling their leisure needs as well. All affected by the weather and travel options available. Lots of things going on there. And then finally, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've lost count, 8 or something like that. Different conditions that they can be affected by. I'm going to put the details on the screen so you can pause, maybe read through it. But you've got sick, injured, homeless, unwell, weak, distressed, evacuated. That's 7, isn't it? So you've got all these different conditions that each citizen can have. So you look at those, you can then work that into what they're going to be doing as well. I'm looking at the trainers and on this picture that I'm looking at here. They've all got different shoes, which is good. So, wow, lots of information there. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss next Monday's Dev Diary Deep Dive, looking at the sound and the music. And I tell you what, I'm loving the music in Cities Skylines. I'm sure you will too. Cities Skylines 2. I'm sure you will too. Thanks for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. I'll see you soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.